Hockney claims that with age, perception of time changes. As I grow older, I find life increasingly interesting. One learns to accept certain things, even solitude. He feels that it is also his duty to overcome the sterility of despair. To do that sometimes requires a lot of strength, and strength grows through recognition. It becomes clear on the morning following the opening of the retrospective in London that he still needs this recognition, especially in England. He reads every review with a watchful eye. "But I can hardly wait to be in California again," he later says. The 60s heralded the start of Hockney's love affair with California, with the light, the water, and the people surrounding him. He converted the house in the Hollywood Hills, which he acquired in 1979, and rebuilt it around him as a refuge, playground, and a constant source of the pleasures of the eye. The famous swimming pool, however, is now deserted. Very few visitors still use it. He has used every method conceivable to capture the play of light, water, and bodies, perhaps most impressively in his paper pools, created through a complex process using papier-mâché. Few other contemporary artists draw their inspiration from the very objects that form their immediate surroundings. He has become increasingly interested in space and perspective since the deterioration of his hearing, as if in an attempt to compensate. For hearing, too, is a spatial phenomenon. Nowadays, he needs 2 hearing aids. He avoids crowds and finds the most comfortable means of communication the amplified telephone, also a measure against loneliness.
Yes, it is, yeah. Self-obsessed. Well, I wonder if you can analyse that. They want to, and of course they want to. Absolutely self-obsessed.
His house is also a laboratory for spatial experiments. "I find the magic in the perspective rather than the objects themselves," he says. In a painting, the space forms one part of the picture's emotional content. Only through space can emotion develop. When Hockney came to Los Angeles, he knew nobody. Then he met the writer Cristopher Isherwood and his friend Don Bachardy. The 2 men, whom he painted in 1968, lived together like a happily married couple for 30 years, until Isherwood's death. Hockney envied them for that.
I was very close. It was a very special house to me because we met all kinds of people. Christopher always had, you know, lots of writers and people, but always attractive young men, always. It was quite a nice variety he always had there.
He introduced you into this world in Los Angeles?
Well, I saw him as, of course, an English person who'd come to LA for certain reasons. You can always say the reasons, you know, I'm sure he too thought it was a rather attractive, sexy place with a climate very unlike England. The sexiness was unlike England and so on. So, of course, I would feel quite close there. I think, well, in fact, Christopher used to say we both came from the north of England. I mean, not many miles apart. This is a picture called A Visit to Don and Christopher's house in Santa Monica. And it actually does tell you about the house and journeying through it. And this yellow here simply represents the road. This house overlooks a valley, and the house is in a sense below the road on the edge of the valley. You come down here, that's the number on the road. They park the cars here, there's a little door here, and you descend stairs. Here were the steps that you're forced to look down when you're coming down them because they're rather steep, so you make a pattern going round and round with them. You then come down and into the living room. Here are the two chairs that I painted Don and Christopher in 1968. The table is still there and a sofa. And you look through the window, and you're looking through the window at the same thing you're looking at here. So you have moved down into the living room. That's the idea.
With his video camera, Hockney captures on film his sentimental visit to the house that still means so much to him today.
And look at the chairs in the window again, looking at the now fallen house on the hill. And then I'd come and move into the dining area that has a circular table that they make bigger for guests. Again, you see through a window, and again you see the same building that you are seeing up there. You then walk down a corridor. Normally the bathroom is here, but as you walk past the bedroom of Don and Christopher, here's the bed with two little, they used to have two little cushions there where I assume they could sit comfortably and read or watch the TV. A bedroom again, still looking out at the building. And there was a television here, so you would walk this side of it, and then we've walked into a much darker room at the end of the corridor, Christopher's study, where he did his writing. Again, only a small window here, again seeing the same thing, because the house is wrapped around the canyon itself. On Christopher's table, there were only two things that he had that were very sentimental things to him. One of them was this little clock that a landlady had given him in Berlin in 1931. And he always had it there, and the clock seemed to work. It hung on a little fish. It is, I think, described in the Berlin stories.